Okay, so two things. One, hey, I got a tripod going. So step one of trying to get the camera better done. Stuff still in the background. Cool, cool. Number two, overtime. So much faster at getting the subs out than Excite was. Like, they're still getting them out on Sundays. It's crazy. All right, so basically, excuse me. Basically, I saw the episode last night right before I went to sleep, so I don't remember everything that happened. And oh man, everything happened. It's really quite insane. All right, so we have Ryuga, right? Banjo Ryuga. He's there. Uh, they're kind of like trying to keep him in the area with the secret lab underneath the cafe because like he's escaped from prison, that sort of thing. He's a runaway. We have to him. Hide him. Main character, forget his name. War Rabbit guy. Build. Build. He's there and he's like, well, this guy has my same memories. It is a best match. We can compare and contrast memories and we'll figure out, who the Batman is. Which is interesting that this entire conversation that they're having right there in the secret underground layer where they're trying to figure out who the Batman is, they sound very much like Batman villains. It's rather fascinating, actually. So they start comparing and contrasting, but then this other girl comes down, and she was the same girl that Build had saved at the beginning of the first episode in that night battle, which here's the thing I was worried about with Build is that they seem to be using way too much of their budget in the first episode, but then in this episode they just pluck out that night battle and they're like, there's a flashback. So I guess it works out if you use all of your budget, but you're going to recycle footage in a way that makes sense and isn't a clip show. So that's pretty good. They're wondering how she figured everything out, and she's like, well, because I saw you untransform, you dropped a matchbook that had the cafe's address. First off, why is the cafe giving out matchbooks? Whatever. So she's there now, and she's also part of the team, I guess, I don't know. So Build goes and fights some monsters, and meanwhile Banjo gets a phone call from his, I want to say girlfriend. I'm not entirely sure. No, there was a ring, right? So wife. Yeah, because in a clip later on, he's looking at her, and she's like, "Did you really throw the fight just to get the money to pay for my surgery?" And he's like, "Oh, no, 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 no." And he sees the ring is barely hanging on her finger, and he's thinking to himself, she's gotten so skinny. Which is a bit dark for a kid's cartoon. Kid show. What else? So he's all tied up in a chair, but he tricks the one girl who can, Saki, I think is her name, to do the thing, and then he uses his feet to dial the phone and falls. He's tied to a chair, falls onto it and talks to it, which is pretty cool. They immediately cut to her just screaming for help. So I don't know if the person keeping her captive was just literally waiting for a random phone call from an unknown number because it was Saki's phone. That seems odd. We're gonna sit here and wait until a random stranger calls you on your cell phone. So some stuff happens and they fight another monster, I guess, and Gorilla Diamond. Build transforms into Gorilla Diamond, and I have to wonder how that's a best match, because in this episode he uses it for the first time, despite the fact he used it near the end of Xaid, which would imply that near the end of Xaid takes place after this episode of Build, at least. So Gorilla Diamond They were calling it the Dazzling Destroyer. Makes me think that maybe the gorilla is like a glass bullet and the diamond is like a shell around it. Or maybe it's in reference to the fact that diamonds are powerful and hard but beautiful, and gorillas are powerful and strong but kind of ugly. I don't know. So, Gorilla Diamond is pretty cool. He also transforms into Rabbit Tank and Hedgehog Tank. So they're still using all of the bottles. It's good. It's good. That, I mean, if you have the suits and the toys and you want to sell the toys and make the suits good, you use them. Yeah. It is interesting, though, that in the first episode it was implied that he had started a long time ago and he was still going on. But in this episode, the only thing that really points to that is he knows how to use rabbit vacuum, where he replaces his left arm with a vacuum cleaner. So what happens is Banjo's girlfriend just turns into a monster, and Build's like, I need to fight the monster. That's what I do. And Banjo's like, no, this is my girlfriend. Don't do it. And then Batman shows up and he's like, my name isn't Batman. And they're like, what's your name then? And he's like, I'm Night Rogue. Cool. So, girlfriend's a monster and wife is a monster. I forgot her name. She's a monster, she's on fire. And Build turns into Rabbit Vacuum, sucks up the fire and unleashes it in the air. So that's safe, no way. Then transforms to, I think it was Gorilla Diamond, to use a finishing attack, which all the finisher attacks are called like Voltec Break, and I don't know how I feel about that. Uses it on the fire monster, which turns her back into Banjo's wife. And I think earlier on, when they were going, Banjo was on the back seat of the motorcycle when they were driving there, and Banjo says, I have to save her, she's the girl in my life. And Build turns and is like, girl? So pretty sure Build and Banjo are gonna be a couple. I don't know. So there's a touching moment where she's dying and she's talking to Banjo about something. Honestly, it was really distracting because Gorilla Diamond was there with like a gorilla fist right here trying to block everything, but like his other fist is diamond, and I feel like, now I'm no scientician, but I feel like a gorilla fist would not be as strong as a diamond fist. I could be wrong. I probably am. So it was distracting because you have all this monster stuff coming down and a gorilla fist holding it up, and Build's like, ah, and she's like, I'm dying. And Banjo's like, but no, don't die. No. But she died, and it's sad. And then Build takes her essence and turns it into a capture bottle. And they go back home to the home base, and it turns out that the capture bottle is dragon power. And he looks at it and is like, so that is the dragon in Ryuga. So clearly they know that their names mean their things. I mean, I cannot for the life of me remember how to pronounce the Build character's civilian name, but I know it literally translates to War Rabbit in Google Translate. I think it's a Sento, which is just the word for rabbit. So he tosses the bottle over to Ryuga, over to Banjo Ryuga, and Banjo holds it and he's like, what? And Build's like, yeah, keep it, you keep that one safe. Yeah, it's yours, basically. And it's like, cool. I mean, so a complaint that I heard about this episode, and I didn't watch this until Sunday night. It aired in Japan on Sunday morning or Saturday morning or something, but I still saw some glimpse of threads about it. And one of the complaints was that it felt a lot like Wizard and Ghost. More Wizard, I think, where they shove a whole bunch of plot line that could have been stretched out into like 4 episodes of a different Rider series into 1 episode. I mean, you could have turned his dying wife into like a long-standing motivation throughout like the first half of the series, at least 4 or 5 episodes, but instead they introduce the concept and then kill her off in the same episode. So I'm sure like late game in the show they're gonna have Banjo talking about his motivation, and you'll see a clip of her as she's dying pulled from this episode. But I feel like it won't have as much of an impact as it could have if you had done multiple episodes with her in it. But who knows? I mean, a huge part of the show seems to be trying to pin down memories and figure out exactly what's going on with the whole Batman thing. Huh. The show is basically like from the point of view of the Riddler. So we're trying to figure out everything to do with Batman, and we're gonna get all these memories. So maybe the wife will show up in a lot of the memories, and we'll just keep the actress around, to do that stuff. So maybe then it will have more of an impact, and we just don't need her to be alive right now. I don't know entirely what's going on with where the plot line is headed, because we're 2 episodes in. Fantastic opening sequence, by the way. Lots of little toy model kit things. Sprues. Model kit sprues. Alright, so I'm recording this right before work, so I won't have it uploaded until tomorrow, but just know I did record this on a Monday. And I'll see you spicy boys later. See ya.